Hi, Jim here, just dropping in before this week's episode to tell you about my latest movie, The Apocalypse Box. It's a horror film and I'd love for you to check it out. If you go to apocalypsebox.co.uk, you can find all the links on where you can watch the movie. Right, let's get on with this week's episode. Hi, Jim here, and you're listening to the Honest Filmmaker podcast, career advice from people in the business. This week I'm speaking to writer-producer Darren Geare. Darren and his brother Jeff, also known as the Geare Brothers, wrote their first screenplay that went onto the blacklist, ended up on the top list, and then got optioned into a feature film called The Retaliators. And the brothers worked on that feature film, helping it through the COVID pandemic, onto its release, that went on to a very successful festival run. I spoke to Darren about what it was like writing that film, his tips for writing, how it got onto the blacklist, what it was like when he was negotiating for that film to be optioned, then what it was like being on set and in production, solving all those problems while the film was being made. And then we talked about his festival run and being able to publicise a film that he's really proud of. Enjoy. Tell me a little bit about how you got into writing.
My brother and I, we made short films like as little kids. I mean, we used to make short films to make our friends laugh and make ourselves laugh. I mean, we did that for years and years and years. And again, always sort of fantasized about writing movies. And we just said, "You want to do that?" And he said, "Yeah, let's do it." So we didn't tell anybody. We just got together and started putting all our ideas together, and we wrote The Retaliators.
And so you finished your script, and how did you then get it made?
So we got so lucky. I called a screenwriter friend of mine, who at the time he had not sold anything or gotten anything made, but he was just struggling screenwriter, very, very good friend of mine, and still is a dear friend. And his name's Geare Artukovich. And so I called Jerry and I said, "Hey, I wrote this script. What the heck do I do with it?" And he goes, "Well, you can put it on this thing called the blacklist." And he taught me about the blacklist. And he said, and he was very funnily cynical about it. And he just said, "Look, you're going to get torn to shreds. You're going to learn everything you did wrong. And that's okay." He goes, "It's very hard. The goal with the blacklist is you want to try to get on their top list because you get industry exposure and all this stuff." He's like, that's not going to happen." He goes, "But that's okay. You're going to get beat up, but you'll find out what you did wrong and you learn. And you it's a way to get some professional coverage, and you pay some money." And I said, "Okay, great. Well, then, yeah, that's what we'll do." So we sent it off to the blacklist, and truly just expecting, it was like, oh gosh, like our eyes closed, wincing, waiting for the beating. And to our unbelievable shock, our scores were just like incredible. They were so good that we instantly made it to their top list. And within weeks, we started getting offers to option the film in our inbox. I've been in and around the industry long enough to know how ridiculous and insane that is. So I was just like, what the hell? This is so crazy. So I had an old relationship from back in the day. He was a young attorney at the time when I was an actor, and we just had a great relationship. We parted ways a long time ago, but we parted ways on very friendly terms. I hadn't talked to him in 20 years, and I just called him and said, "Hey, I've got this script. I've got all these, we've got these offers, and I have no idea what to do." And he very graciously And I just asked him for advice. That was the other thing too. That was the other advice I would say is that I didn't ask him for anything. I didn't call and say, "Hey, can you do something? Can you help me? Can you represent us or anything like that?" So much of this was sort of a culmination of many, not only the many years of the sort of the like I was saying, all of the cinematic education creatively, but also going back to the relationship piece and treating people piece, because what ultimately led us to where we went. Michael Lombardi was really the head producer, head creative producer, sort of leading the ship, because like I said, we had to go through, again, because of all the logistical issues, we had to go through multiple directors. The directors did a fantastic job, but we had a few of them, a couple of them. And so Michael had to sort of be that kind of constant creative. So I mean, it was just, yeah, it was crazy. But we definitely earned our title. That's for sure.
Yes, sounds like it for sure. And something else I noticed is often with the film, like you say, you'll get a writer on board, and then when the film's released, you don't really hear about the writer at all. Obviously, you guys are really connected to this film because there's a lot out there about you two as brothers who wrote the film. Do you think that's because it started on the blacklist and it gives it that extra kind of spin, or do you think it's just because you were so entrenched in the production that when it came out, because I'm presuming you went to all the festivals and sort of enjoyed seeing the film on the big screen?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We were so embraced. The festivals embraced us so much. That was again another. At every stage, we thought the surprises were over, and that we were sort of like, okay, we're this is we're sort of at the end of the rainbow here. Another thing would come, because we really just wanted the movie to be good. We really just wanted to finish the movie, because the COVID was such a besides the real world, obviously we're talking work and fantasy land world challenges here, not real world challenges that everybody had with COVID, of course, but all of the COVID, the movie related challenges. It was so daunting. So it was just like, can we get it finished? When we finally finished it, then it was just, okay, can we please just have a good film that we're proud of? And I took my brother and I went out to lunch, and I told him, I said, all right, let's remember, at the end of the day, we made a horror movie. So we're going to wake up tomorrow and these reviews are going to eat us alive, and that's okay. That's our genre. We no respect. It's all right. That's, that we're proud. We're very proud. We love horror, and we're not ashamed of horror at all. I mean, I hold horror up with any other classic genre. And the next morning when we woke up and then the reviews came in, really it kicked off with Fright Fest. Fright Fest called us and said, I think his name was Paul McAvoy. He said, you have the what did he say? The popcorn, favorite of the festival, or and he sent us a clip of because that was a heartbreaker. Was we couldn't go to that festival because that was the tail end of the COVID stuff, and so it was when traveling was still complicated. So to go to that one, it would have meant quarantining in a hotel room for 15 days before we could have gone to the it would have just been too complicated to go. So he was really sweet, and he sent us a video from the night, and it was the crowd just going nuts and clapping and at the end of the movie, and we were just like, whoa. And he said, yeah, this was like the fan favorite at the festival, or popcorn, whatever word he used, and we were just blown away. And yeah, so we then started going to festivals, and a lot of the really big directors who are not writer directors, right? So not the Tarantinos or the PTAs, because they obviously write their own films. But it's interesting when you look at the greats that modern greats that aren't writer directors. So if you look at Spielberg, you look at Ridley Scott, you look at Ron Howard, right? Those guys are incredible to their writers. And when you read about how they are with writers, they are incredibly generous and do treat their writers very sacred. You know, they're on the set. They consult with them about everything. They have very strict philosophies about how involved they are. And Ron Howard has a cool saying about the writer being, the director being the keeper of the story, but his relationship with the writer is the person who wrote the story. So, I do feel like it's a pretty bad habit, I think, for and kind of a lazy habit, because it is kind of lazy to just sort of say, well, we'll take over this film. Let's get the writers out of the way because we just don't have to deal with them. They're going to have their opinions, and we're going to have to deal with it. It's just going to be easier for us to just do our own thing over here. There are so many logistical things that you can save by communicating with the writer because the writer knows why they made certain decisions, So anyway.
Yeah, no, that's cool. It's cool that you were able to be that involved for that entire time. It's amazing. I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you'd like to hear from more industry professionals, how they got into the business and how you can do the same, or you just want to listen to some cool stories from movie sets around the world, then please do subscribe to the Honest Filmmaker podcast.